And also a warm welcome to today's presentation. My name is Ahem Stirner. I'm in the company Zucken, product manager for E3. Today's component marking made easy with support of E3.series and the PrintJet Connect. Before we start into the technical stuff, just a few informations about the initiative. The Smart Cabinet Building Initiative was founded in April last year, so it is about 1.5 years old, and it was founded by 4 companies called Weidmüller. It's the partner for industrial connectivity. The Comax from Switzerland is a pioneer in automated bioprocessing. Zucken, we do the digital engineering for the cabinet building, and Armbruster Engineering is a company who is a specialist for assistant workplace solutions. And together we hope that we have all the tools, hardware tools, software tools for your modern cabinet production. As you can see in our famous circle diagram, the Smart Cabinet Building is the complete process from the engineering to mechanics, component assembly, marking, wire processing, and so on until the implementation and service. And today we want to talk about the way from the engineering in the digital twin and from the digital twin to export the data, the information for the special purpose of component marking. So for that, just a few words about our software E3 ET Print. It is an add-on for our E3 series, and the idea or the motivation of ET Print and all our other smart cabinet building tools is to avoid or to reduce obsolete paper documents. We want to give you the possibility to export directly the data from the system to the necessary tools to improve your quality, because if the data is sent via a file, then it is completely and correctly, and there can't be any mistakes by copy and paste or something else. We want to minimize the effort, so if you only export and import, it's very easy. You will see in the live demo. And with the tool, we can increase the flexibility because we have all the standards functionalities you need for your maybe different purposes. It is all in the software included. So that's the tool, ET Print. And as I mentioned, we have on the first register card some standard export filters. It is configurable. You can, on the top left corner, you can filter for assignment and location. If you don't want to export the whole project, maybe you only want to produce at the moment the cabinet 1, then you can filter here the big project to these small parts. You can say, okay, but in the next step, I only want to print or export the information for the cables. Then you can all uncheck the other device or product types. For terminals, there is a various handling, so what you want to export for the terminals, and some other additional configuration possibilities to keep you flexible for your needs, because you have different customers. Maybe they need different data, and so then you can, with a few clicks, you can do individual exports. And you can define which information should be exported. It can be increased with other possibilities, other properties. So in my example, it's those 2, 4, 7 properties I will export. And in the special communication with the mPrint Pro software, we have some additional configuration possibilities, especially here the big block in the middle. We can define here some standard marker article numbers to make a difference. If you want to put it on normal devices, I can say, okay, then I want to use the marker with the article type 1674 and so on. Yeah? And on connectors, I want a different marker type. And for cables, another one, because this is maybe a bigger one or a smaller one or something else. And so with this standard definition, you do not have to define it on every device in your project or on every component. You can define this here in one time. It's very easy to define this, and all devices who do not have a special marker type defined will be exported with this marker. So this is very efficient to define which marker you want, and this is very powerful. And for the special way of the mPrint Pro, it is possibility to define where the mPrint Pro software is installed. If it is installed on my own computer, you will see this such an import script. We can export also the predefined import script and so on, the export folder. And if we export it to the file, there's a zip file with the content and the import script and so on. So it's just a double click and it will be opened on the other machine. Now I will show it in a live demo. I have an E3 project starting with our additional tool, the E3 Print, and there are two possibilities. If I want to save it as mPrint Pro, then it is created a zip file and I can send it to another colleague who do the printing. If I have the printer plugged on my own PC, then I can also directly export open with an mPrint Pro and send it to the printer myself. So this is two typical contents. So let's switch to E3. Some of you who has saw one of our webinars, you know our small example, this cabinet from the smart cabinet building demo use case. In this use case, there are different devices and cables and cable ducts and so on. So small project, and some labels are needed to produce this cabinet. And if I start the print software, then we can see so that there is some predefined settings. You normally you need some others, and for the customer 1 you need a special configuration, and for customer 2 you need another. So then you are able to load some predefined configurations. You can see I do it for this demo, and now I have defined some additional properties, some device types, and also all the default markers. If you need other default markers for another company, you can save this in other configuration, so you do not have to edit always all the informations, only load the correct predefined configuration and everything is fine. And in my case, now I will export everything, all product types, lots of information for each product type, and I say, okay, with this import script and so on, and with default markers, I press the button, save this in a zip file, as I mentioned, with all the content. It's just one click. I can save it in the template, and this is now saved, and I can hand over this file to my colleague from Weidmüller, to Dietmar, and Dietmar will continue based on this export. So Dietmar, it's your turn.
Yes, thank you, Achim. Also from my side, warm welcome to this webinar. My name is Dietmar Schreiber. I'm working as product manager here at Weidmüller Interface in Detmold, and I'm working especially in the business unit of workplace solutions. Well, what we mean with workplace solutions is simply a concept to support our customers during the whole project, especially focused on the data consistency as well as standardization, and at the end, of course, it comes to a high level of automation of all these processes. Well, we do that, of course, with some connectivity consultants. So we offer consultants for our customers for the whole concept, starting with the planning, construction, and also for the work preparation until the commissioning, and even until to service issues. We do that with a lot of products, of course. We start with simple hand tools, as well as crimping machines or cutting machines. We have a semi-professional or semi-automated wire processing center. We offer also a fully automated rail assembling machine. And of course, we have individual marking solutions for that. And one of these marking solutions is called a PrintJet Connect. The PrintJet Connect is a PrintJet in the 5th generation. We started with the first PrintJet Connect in 2002. And now we have the 5th generation, which we call the PrintJet Connect. It's so an inkjet-based system, which prints on polyamide cards or also on metal markers. I will explain you that a little bit later on. Well, as Achim informed us about, we are at the moment at the stage that we created our project in a CAD system in software. So we have all the data available. And now the question is, how can I bring as a customer my data to all these components? As we have, of course, different terminals, we have different types of wires and cables with different cross connections. We have a lot of different devices and components to be marked. And the question is now, if I have all the data ready, how can I get these data onto the components? Well, what we offer, of course, is that we already be able to use the data that we got from the E3 system so far, as Achim shows. And we now would like to import that into our software and to run the printer for that. if I will explain you the printer in a couple of minutes, just let me start with some introduction of that system. Of course, we are happy to get the German Innovation Award this year, so it shows that the idea of these printers and its features, we are pretty on the right track, and we meet our customers' requirements. Especially customers told us that they are really happy that this printer is a very maintenance-friendly system. So we have a couple of flaps that the customers can do the main maintenance very easy by himself in his workshop. We have now reached a speed up to 2 or up to 3 multi-cards. It differs a little bit about the printer setup that we have. For these printer that we get a speed between 2 and 3 multi-cards. We also have integrated a system that checks the size of the card, so that it ensures that all these prints are really perfectly centered on all markers that we have on the multi-card, on the cards, on the markers that we are going to print. And of course, last but not least, we have an input magazine for up to 50 cards, as well as an output magazine. So the printer will print the cards and will shift it out to the output magazine, and they will be all stacked into that magazine. We will see that just now in a second. Let me then switch over to the software. Well, now we are in the situation that I got the zip file, and I'm able now to import that here with my CSV file format, as well with my import script. I'm now already in the situation to say, well, everything is complete. Let's print that. I would just switch over to some of these slides explaining that I have here the reference file, which I can also evaluate in the way that I can see now my different columns for the projects, for the cable duct, for example. We have a couple of things there to print, connectors, devices, and all these kind of things. We have a column saying the article number for the especially component, for example, that we know very well. This, if I want to use cable ducts, I use these part number, and if I'm using this part number, this is the right marker that I'm going to choose. Normally, of course, this is quite a small project. I can print it, of course, one time, but in this case, I needed, let's say, I needed 5 times. And then I'm ready to go to define what should really be printed. For example, in column number 1, the project name, so that the worker itself in the field knows exactly where to place all these markers. Or column number 5, this is this column here, which are the data that should be printed on the marker itself. Then I'm going to set that up and import that into our mPrint Pro. What we see here now is that all these things are imported into the software. Each data will be equipped to the exact marker that we have. For example, here these, we have different markers. For example, this type, this is a marker that we have chosen now to mark our cable ducts, for example. In this case, I would like to print that on our PrintJet Connect, which I can choose here. In this case, I'm going to print not the complete project. I say I would like to print just the first 3 cards of them, just to make it a little bit easier for these webinar. And the next step now is that I will take these cards that I have here. The cards are normally coming in these kind of boxes. So I take out these multi-cards and I put that exactly in this way into the input magazine, which we have here on the right side of the printer. So that's how I load this printer. Of course, I can add up to 50 cards exactly in the way that I need them for the project that we have, because you saw that there are cable ducts inside, there are connectors inside, and terminals and so on. And exactly in that positioning, we can put all these markers into the magazine. Now I'm ready to send the print job to the printer. I'm doing that right away. So what we will see in a couple of seconds, that the printer gives you the information. While I'm receiving some information, he will take the first card and put that now, or pull that now into the printer. We will have the situation that the card itself will be printed in these right area, because here's the print head located. The next is the fixing area, because we are using a water-based ink system, a very friendly ink system. But if you fix it by thermal, by an UV, by an infrared lamp, it will give you a very high resistance of that print itself. So the first card is now in the section of the fixing area. The second card has already been pulled into the printer and will now be printed, while the first card will come out in a couple of seconds. So all cards, of course, they need to go through the whole system, printing, fixing, and transport, and giving it to the output stacker. But as up to 3 cards in the printer at the same time, of course, we can get these speed of 2 to 3 multi-cards per minute. What we see here now is that the first card is coming out of the printer. It will be stacked into the output stacker. We can see that in a couple of seconds. Will be then shift a little bit up, and then, of course, in this case, you can take it away if you want, or you can leave it there, and all the rest cards will be then added to these output magazine, of course. Well, we see here now a black print. Of course, as I said, it's an inkjet system. We have the CMYK cartridges inside. That means we can also print these, I hope you can see that a little bit, with colored markers. So the print itself can be colored, but of course we have a range of markers with a polyamide already in different colors. So standard is yellow. We have a lot of red, we have a lot of blue markers, and even these turquoise color, especially for Siemens devices, are very welcome by our customers so far. So now all the 3 cards are in the output magazine. I can take them out and give it to our workshop man, because the workshop guy knows now exactly, I'm not quite sure if you can see that, but here's the information of the project. So the guy knows very well where to put these kind of markers, and this is then at the end where to put these marker. It has an adhesive tape on the back side. You take that out, and then you can stick that onto a cable duct, or you can put the marker, if it is a wire marker, to the exact defined wire marking or cable systems and terminal systems and so on. So that's how the software and the printer is working. Let me finally give you some last information about some additional features that we put to that printer. We saw the speed, of course, so we saw that we have an input and output magazine. What first will be printed is the first that will come out of the machine, of course. If you use all these features, starting from your CAE system up to the exact printer, of course, you can reduce all mistakes that you may risk if some human beings are doing some additional things. and doing some mistakes. If everything is standardized and you have the complete data consistency and the full automation, all these mistakes are, of course, reduced to a minimum. We also have the possibility, of course, to get by a remote system onto the printer, just to offer our customers to support them by maintenance issues, to give them some additional information about the printer, even up to a training and things like that. But of course, we also pay attention on the customers telling us, please be aware that we have some strategy regarding cybersecurity. So we also added a couple of features of IT security into that printer to give every customer the full possibilities to adjust these printer exactly to his needs. Last but not least, of course, I would like to give you the information that we do not only have a printjet, an inkjet system, we also offer alternatively, for example, a thermal transfer system. Of course, there you don't have those cards as a polyamide card. You have these markers, simple labels on rolls and similar markers. But we also give this as a individual marking system to our customers, just to make the choice for him as good as possible, to have all the best concept that he needs for his facility, for his production area, and his way to produce his products. That's it so far from my side regarding the live demonstration about software and printjet. And I would like to hand over to Achim again, please.
Thanks, Dietmar. And I need the next slide. So if you have any questions in our question and answers chat, there is in the moment no question. So if you have further questions, maybe tomorrow or next week, then you can contact the 4 representatives from the Smart Cabinet Initiative, as you can see here on the slide, with the email addresses and the phone numbers. And if there is no question, as I can see, then maybe some merchandising or advertising in our own interest can always join. Please join our webinar. Normally we have on the last Wednesday of the month a webinar for different topics. Normally you can see it, it's not in November, it's not the last Wednesday because of the next week's SPS fair. So we did it today, and also in December it's not on the last Wednesday because it's Christmas. So then the next webinar is at the beginning of the December, so it's next week, 2nd of December. And as you can see, and I want to tease a little bit the initiative is growing. So some interesting news about the Smart Cabinet Building Initiative. Please join the webinars and tell your colleagues that this is an interesting webinar. And you can all our webinars are recorded, so you can see on the homepage the recordings of all the last webinars. I think it's at the moment 15 or 20 webinars. So still no questions in our question box. So then thank you for your attention and stay healthy. See you and bye-bye.